What is a soul? Do you have a soul? Are you a soul? Throughout history, most cultures have accepted the notion of a spiritual essence said to transcend death. Its presumed existence offers hope to the forlorn and comfort to the bereaved. But most scientists, given the remarkable advances in understanding the biology of the brain, are materialists. They believe that only the physical is real. Materialists reject dualism, denying the existence of an independent, non-physical soul. Next, on Closer to Truth, can science seek the soul? Welcome to Closer to Truth. I'm Robert Kuhn. History records ancient and continuing battles between science and spirit, forever destined, it seems, to be on opposite sides of a great divide. Could be dangerous to get into this one. To hear from all sides, we invited 5 soul-savvy experts. Dr. Charles Tart, a pioneer in parapsychology, is professor at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology in San Francisco. Dr. Fred Alan Wolf is a physicist who writes on consciousness and the new physics. Dr. Warren Brown is professor of psychology at Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California. Dr. John Searle, a leading philosopher of mind, is professor at the University of California at Berkeley. And Dr. Dean Radin is an experimental psychologist who studies extrasensory perception, ESP. Charles, your recent book, Body, Mind, and Spirit, propounds the importance of spirituality. What's the relationship between the existence of the soul, if it exists, and spirituality?
Well, spirituality is predicated on the idea that this is more than just a short-term show here with nothing to show after we die, that there are long-term consequences, and that has enormous effects on how people live their life, whether they believe that or not. I don't think we should just believe it or not believe it. I think we should look at the evidence that there is something that might transcend death, that transcends the physical body, and I find there's some evidence for that, which makes spirituality much more interesting to me than if it was just a belief.
And will that directly affect our lives if that's true?
I think it'll affect your lives a lot. Suppose you know you're going to die in a short while. What are you going to do with your last hours?
I'm going to have 2 shows like this.
Do you think that's a good investment for the long term?
I think it is.
I think it is too, actually, in that particular
Good, or else
case.
you'd be off the show.
Yeah.
Fred, your book, The Spiritual Universe, claims to be able to use scientific methods to prove that the soul exists. But how can you use physical, scientific methods to prove the existence of something that's not physical?
Well, first of all, we have to define what we mean by a soul. If we can get a definition which meets some kind of scientific test of provability, then we could prove its existence. I think we already have enough groundwork to start the search. I believe that there's enough in the nature of the way the physical universe is constructed to indicate the presence of something called soul. Now, where I begin looking for this is in the nature of quantum mechanics or quantum physics, which says that there may be a spiritual underpinning to all the physical world.
Warren, you are a neuroscientist, a neuropsychologist, and a committed Christian. Your recent book is What Happened to the Soul. Tell us, what happened?
Well, the position we take in the book is that the idea of a soul as a separate metaphysical entity isn't necessary to explain humankind. That doesn't mean that God doesn't exist and there isn't a spiritual world, but you don't have to add an element to humankind, to the physicalness of our humanness, in order to explain and to account for what it means to be human.
This is not necessarily Christian orthodoxy.
No, probably most Christians would find this a tough road. but this is what I would call non-essential theology. That is, it's not a critical point for most Christian theology.
John, you've been a leader